having to be a pillar sometimes, bro. Like you a broken pillar, like or you going through something and you don't people don't even realize it. That's the strain it takes on you. You know what I mean? Like being able to still be structurally there while you dealing with a crack like that people can't see. You know what I'm saying? You got a real fault that this motherfucker might break any day. But I'm not gonna lie, I care about the people so much that I'm keeping this shit together.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's the word, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today we're not at Private Stock. We got a very special guest. We're at a very special place. Man, we're here with DJ Producer. He's a audio brand part. He's audio and brand partnership for Lyrical Lemonade. Former member of Supreme Regime and Hurt Everybody. Most recently founded Stoner's Village.
Oh my boy, hell yeah! I appreciate the intro. That's crazy.
Go ahead and
And
introduce
I was
yourself,
gonna say,
bro.
man, shit, you dug all the way back to the Supreme Regime. That's you already did your research on everything. I appreciate that's love, bro. That's crazy.
Man, I told you, bro, that you look up Mulatto beats, everything from 2012 to 2017 pops up.
Facts. The archive shit.
And then I'm
Yeah.
over here, I'm like, so what happened after 2017? We got to figure it out, right? But introduce yourself real quick, bro. Let the people know who you are
Hell
for
yeah.
those who that don't.
Lotto, man. Devin. That's my real name, but producer, DJ. But like you said, too, I do a lot of other things too. I love weed. I love cannabis also, but at the same time, I do music too. So been diving in both. Just launched my brand, my cannabis brand, Stoner Village. But at the same time, always been doing audio partnerships and stuff like that. And also when it comes to like Summer Smash, like helping with some of the actual sponsors that's coming on deck.
Man, so you want to start at the beginning or you want to start at the end?
Man, either one. I'm whatever, bro. I'm open. I'm chilling, man. So whatever. You know what I mean?
Let's start at the beginning, right?
Hell yeah.
Honestly, seeing all of this come to life, being a part of this, who would have really thought that it would have started from you using your brother's laptop, Fruity Loops, right? Whenever you leave the crib.
No cap. That's the real gem. No cap. No, for real. Like my oldest brother started making beats. He's like 12 years older than me type shit. So like some of the first times I seen him making beats was when he was on house arrest at the crib. Like, he had the floppy disk and a actual piano out and all that. And just throughout the generations, like one of his homies opened a store called The Basement out here. That was like a historic store for like hip hop in Chicago type shit. And I just been rooted in it since then. Like I always loved it. I always wanted to figure out what was up with DJing and producing and shit like that. And then down the line, my brother also too, FL Studio came out and all that, and Pro Tools and stuff like that more so. And my brother, he was just hip to it, you know what I'm saying? Like he does videography now, but he was just always seeing what was going on with shit, and he ended up downloading FL Studio because my older brother and just making beats. And anytime he'll leave out the crib, that's kind of when I would hop on the computer, no cap. And that's when I started filling in, finding out, like, damn, I actually love doing this shit. And then, I got my own laptop with the program, started really actually cooking up.
So what was it that drew you to music in the first place?
Man, honestly, I don't really know too much. Like, I feel like it's one of them things where you're younger and you don't realize the roots you got into some certain things. But my uncle's a DJ, you know what I'm saying? Like, my brother, he in the graffiti scene. Like, a lot of the real roots of the hip hop shit, like graffiti, breaking, all that, like a lot of my family was parts of that in Chicago too. And same with my boy Kari too. So it just, in hindsight, when you look back, it almost felt destined type shit. But back then, I didn't realize how much like actual influence I had musically. But a lot of my uncles were DJing and stuff like that too. So I think it was just like something that was damn near built in, early. Like I was 9 years old, listening to MF Doom, listening to fucking Common, listening to Kanye and all that shit too. So I feel like it just stuck with me for years after that.
You were set up for the success and you were set up to be in this industry. And shit, the history that you have within Chicago, it's shown. Again, like doing that deep dive, we're going to get into it for
That's
real.
fire, bro. I appreciate it.
But before we get to there, right, you mentioned something that was very important to you coming up in the music scene, which was The Basement. What kind of expectations did that set for you when it came to everything revolving around the industry?
Man, honestly, too, I feel like it's not even just that. It's almost like built in Chicago too. Like you, the idea of like glamorizing certain things or like like almost looking at celebrities as something that's not achievable kind of ain't a thing out here. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of people teach you to be like a leader or like teach you to think that you are capable of doing whatever. So like that's always kind of been something that's been just ingrained in like what my uncles always taught me, what my dad always taught me, my brothers always taught me. And when stuff like that happens, it's like I watch my brother grow up. I watch his homies grow up. The young graffiti writers in Chicago, like not much going on. But then at the end of the day, too, they could put it together to put a store out, actually start booking artists, like, you know, bringing Wu-Tang and stuff like that to the city, like Shauna, like T.I., a lot of the first people I was seeing, Twista, you know what I'm saying, coming up there to do actual signings at the store. And it just made it seem like more feasible, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt more like able to actually reach, or, you know, something that was actually more reachable than most things, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people from me that were coming from the same situation literally made it come from nothing too. So, you know, they banded together, started a store and all that shit. So it just showed me off the rip, like, you know, if you really into any culture or any industry, like if you really do this shit and you do it the right way and you build a business model behind it, you know, you can actually do something right with it, no matter where you at. Chicago even too.
That's a super important lesson to learn early on in life, because a lot of these things, like you mentioned, right, celebrities reaching a certain level of fame, or even just reaching certain levels in your job, right? Let's connect it to the everyday person. The everyday person, they see the CEO, it's like, I'll never get there one day, because you don't have that confidence, or maybe that idea of being the CEO always seems so far out of reach, right? And that stems from your situations. That stems from the people that are surrounding you and the people that taught you certain things growing up. If my parent tells me you could be the best at whatever you do every single day, I'm going to believe that.
Yeah, it's going to be what's ingrained in your head, yeah.
But if I'm told, like, you ain't shit, I'm not going to be shit.
A lot of them things you hear as a kid, I don't think adults understand as much as it's going to weigh on somebody when they get older. But I'll be thinking about on a lot of things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things that adults would say to me, or that were negative and positively. And I'm like, I don't know if they realized how much of an impact that left on me to the point that I can remember it to this day. But that's facts, bro. Like, you are a sponge when you're growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of what you're taking in is that. And I'm thankful to have people in my corner that were kind of almost pushing things that were like unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? Like anything I was pushing, my mom, my OG, my family, they were in support of it. You know what I mean? Like, so I appreciate that. You know, that does change the opportunity for somebody that doesn't hear something that's as positive when you're trying to try something that's not as realistic, you know, especially coming from where we coming from. You know what I mean?
What was one of those things that stuck with you throughout this whole time?
I feel like, I was just thinking about one today too. Something my coach said when I was young as hell that I don't know if it was a good or a positive thing, but like just telling us he hates the word like seeing potential in somebody, because he's like, I almost feel like that means you're not living up to what you could actually be doing. And I don't know, for some reason that stuck me in a positive and bad way, because, you know, I don't know, like just understanding that like I am capable of doing a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I always set my standards super high. And at the same time, like when you got potential, I feel like that gives you a little bit of opening for growth, you know what I mean? And like understanding that sometimes even when you are at the highest caliber, there's something to learn and there's something to take from every situation. And that, I don't know, that statement kind of just like to this day is something that I've thought of in situations where I'm like, I do have potential, but I don't know if I've learned or if I have all the tools I need to actually live up to this potential yet. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to take from it in a good way. Like you should overcome, you know, the things and the task and all the things like that is to fulfill the potential that you have if you are talented, if you're blessed with these skills. But sometimes you're not gifted with those. So like, you know, like you got to work double hard, you know, double times as hard as somebody else that might have a situation where they are gifted with tools that might help their potential get there a little bit better too. So just being conscious of that and understanding like, you know, like I might not have certain tools, but I do got a lot of potential and I'm gonna live up to it either way type shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if it's a little bit harder than somebody else's path, like I'm gonna make sure that I get where I need to be.
Being the best and knowing you still have certain things that you need to accomplish, knowing that you still have certain things that you could be doing better.
Facts.
For somebody like you, you're working with one of the biggest hip hop brands in the world, not just Chicago, right? And you've reached this point by going through Supreme Regime, going through Hurt Everybody, and building your catalog, building your resume. What is it you think that you still need to be working on? What is it that's going to make you feel fulfilled, right? Because somebody looks at you and they're like, he's done it all. I'm sure a platinum record wouldn't hurt.
No, facts.
A number one wouldn't hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but you see these kids that are growing up that want to be producers and they look at you and they're like, oh shit, like he does that for real.
Even though I'm around so much glitz and glamour and like successful things too, sometimes it's that too, bro. Like it's the situation of like getting older and being okay with your situation or understanding that things come at different times. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen people now at this point that had, like we said, some of the most potential I feel like in the world not live up to it because they didn't strike or stay consistent at the times when they should have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit I feel like is in waves, and a lot of what I'm grateful for of seeing is like if you are consistent throughout certain things and you do have that talent and you actually dedicated to, you will find your time too. So, me, the last thing that's gonna really fulfill my journey on it too, I've seen a lot of people come up through it, not make it through it, but also see the greatest things through it too. But, it's just uplifting some more of my people, you know what I'm saying? Like helping people find situations where, it might be a little bit more easy for them to get into what they want to do too. You know what I mean? Like I'm thankful to be into what I'm in. And I feel like a lot of the things that I've gotten into is luck, you know what I'm saying? Not even luck, but maybe a blessing, you know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody looking out for me, some of my angels, my dad, or somebody looking out for me. But some people don't got that. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my friends, some people that I know and I grew up with got the short end of the stick, you know what I mean? Like they're not here today and they might be here, but they struggling and they going through a lot, you know what I mean? And it looks like there's not a lot for them, but the fact that I am able to help some people have inspiration and stuff like that, that's kind of like really what fulfills all my, final dreams of this shit is like being able to help the last people. I really feel like y'all got talent in this shit. You around, you still trying your hardest, you know what I mean? Like, and I got some type of platform. I got some understanding of the business. I got some understanding of the music. I got some understanding of being a human in general too. But, I'm just thankful for it. So, now I gotta return that, you know what I mean? So that's really my last thing. Is just like some of the people I know that I got faith in that might have put me on or helped me with shit, just making sure they fulfill their dreams as well, you know what I mean? I'm grateful to be in more of a financial stable situation, where I can actually chill and create and do what I want to do and be able to push a brand. But, now it's time to be able to step back and be like, okay, but this is one of the rawest videographers I know. This is one of the rawest graphic designers I know. This is one of the rawest artists I know. How can we pivot and throw a show, do something that uplifts, Stoner Village, uplifts you as an artist, uplifts you as a videographer, and all that, so we can all eat, because at the end of the day, like, we can all eat off the shit, you know what I'm saying?
When you sent me all of that information, right? When I sent you the message about what's been weighing heavy on your mind, the fact that you're still looking out for people, right? You're still looking out for the people that matter in your life and not making it just about, okay, I want to celebrate my accolades and I know there's much more that needs to be done. But let me make sure my people are okay before I focus 100% on that. I think that's admirable.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. I feel like a lot of people, too, that come from the situation, I understand how it is. You know what I mean? Like, you watch a lot of music interviews and a lot of artist interviews, and a lot of them say, like, they're thankful. It's almost like a luck of draw. And that's just facts. The more I get into this shit, the more luck I'm getting in things. I don't know if I was supposed to have it or what, if my work ethic got me that, but I'm grateful for it because I know a lot of people don't get the same opportunities too. So like, if you ever get a position where you can actually open doors for people who are talented and you don't, like, I don't know how you could feel, you know what I'm saying? How you can feel good with yourself at night, you know what I'm saying? No cap.
Growing up, did you feel like there was only one version of what life may look like for you because of the circumstances you were coming from?
That's one of the things I've been thinking about recently too, like some of the advice, who I was getting advice from too. And a lot of what I was doing, bro, was like textbook shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I was trying to play basketball. I was trying to do music. And luckily the shit worked out. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when it's like I'm trying to give people advice on certain things, it's almost like this shit doesn't even sound like real. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you something that's like what people tell you is unachievable on a day-to-day. I just was blessed to be able to somehow relish in it. You know what I mean?
In the message you had told me, right? There's a lot of people that I grew up with. There's a lot of people that were around me that are still in the same position they were growing up. And even you mentioning your brother, right? He had a situation where he couldn't even leave the house. With that being your mentor, with that being the person you look up to, sometimes it creates a version of this is what life may look like.
Bouncing back off that, like we were saying, I didn't try or have access to many things that other people in the hood didn't have access to, or meeting people in a major city, or, come from a situation where you don't come from a lot of money or something like that. I didn't have them same things too. So it was almost hard for me to dream big too. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying my luck at things like basketball, things like rap, the same shit that we all trying. So, honestly, when you coming from some situations, the shit is bleak. Like you don't have a second plan. Like you don't really think too further past that. But, now that I've been able to actually relish in some things and see how, like things are operational, you know what I'm saying? Like you get a little older, you get into business, you get successful in things, you understand like certain things you couldn't even think of because you were never taught those things. Like I didn't know about certain business things to get into. I didn't know about brand partnerships. I didn't know about, I didn't know about audio engineering. I didn't know about post-production. I didn't know about a lot of the things that are what a lot of people make money from in the same industry that I love too. So like it wasn't feasible to me. You know what I'm saying? I was young. I'm thinking like I'm gonna try to go to the NBA. That shit didn't work out. I got into music. Luckily, this shit did work out. You know what I'm saying? And that's not the story for a lot of people too. So I feel like, like my story, a lot of people don't have an end goal with it, and it's hard to see past, like you're saying too, because a lot of people not coming from situations where you get to see how to actually build a business off of some of these things that are such a limited resource that everybody's trying around you. But I'm grateful that I could now in the long run for sure.
So let's get into it, right? The journey really starts at Supreme Regime, outside of the basement and all of that, right?
Hell yeah.
What was it that started Supreme Regime?
Man, realistically, I feel like what that was like 2012-ish, 2013-ish, around that time. I feel like music was just fresh, bro. Like, same with like Sosa, same with like Chance and all them too. It wasn't a thing where people were just proud of it. Like, everybody was like a rapper, everybody was doing this, everybody's a producer. And you could kind of like wear it as like a badge of honor. Back then, it was kind of like you trying your hand at something that people were telling you not going to advance into. So, that was what drew me to Supreme. Like some of my first homies were like, okay, you actually trying to do this rap shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really want to do something that's outside of what everybody else doing, like gangbanging or doing whatever on a day-to-day. And it's like, I'm actually trying to do some shit. I'm trying to play basketball. I'm trying to figure out what we can do. So music being one of my passions, like Supreme Regime, those are just some of the first people that I was like, okay, where? Oh, you got beats? Oh, we finna hop on these beats. And it's like, okay, bet, let's get it then. So I'm, like me as a kid, I'm ready to go whatever. Like anybody that's actually ready to rap on the beat, you know how it is when you first producing too. So, we just locked in. Like anybody that was matching like my tenacity to do music, like I was ready to lock in too. And I feel like a lot of them were early up on what they were doing, you know what I'm saying? Like the early Ill Roots eras, the early Fake Short Drive era, you know what I'm saying? Like just a small niche of what was actually going on in hip hop and Chicago scene. Like they were hip to it too. So we just had a common understanding, like, all right, we're gonna actually try to do this music shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think we all talented. Some of us doing other shit, got other things in life going on, but we all love music, so we're gonna try it together.
What was your and Smoko's group name? You had a little duo going, right? Green what?
Yeah, he started that. Green Iris. Yeah. You already know how it is. You young type shit, just like trying to do little groups and little one-offs and shit like that too. So we locked in. He one of my first homies that started making beats too. So we like, oh yeah, let's do a production duo type shit. So
you guys were trying to be, what is it? Major Lazer?
Damn near something like that. And it's crazy too, because like back then, that's some of the influences, like Flying Lotus, like all that. Like we wanted to DJ, produce, all that too. So that was kind of some of the end goals for real. Like we might start putting out some instrumentals and actually go on tour for this shit or something.
You guys did a tour, didn't you? Like a little small tours to schools and shit.
That was the first ever shows we really did. And it was UW Madison and ISU and another little college tour too. Type shit, yeah. Well, Alex Wiley, fucking Chance the Rapper was the opener, and then it was us, Supreme Regime, like it's the first opener of the tour.
That's what I mean, bro. Your history goes back, bro, and these are the things that people that follow you, right? They see Lyrical Lemonade and they're like, oh, he's lyrical, but they don't know the story for real.
I don't talk much too, so that don't really help much. But yeah, facts.
So then, what was a crucial moment for you while in that group that demonstrated your growth?
Just being able to like put out a body of work. Like we put out Sloan Peterson and being a Supreme Regime. Like I'm one of the only producers. Smoke one of the only producers. Like they booking hours. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't as easy now where you can go buy a mic and you can kind of get into it a little bit. So it's like you finna pay $50 an hour. Like motherfucker, we need beats and we need you to be on point. So like when they buying studio time too, and also too, it's a luxury. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like. Same reason why we so locked in with Classic. Like he one of the first people we met in the mix of this too. So it's like he giving us a discount to get early hours. So it's like we pulling up to his family's crib when the first original Classic Studios it started off.
What the fuck was it called? The Kilpatrick house?
Kilpatrick, yeah, exactly. All the way over there by like 6 corners and shit. So like we going in the basement doing hours and shit like that too. So that's what made me take it serious. It's like, damn, we in a studio. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a sophomore, freshman in high school. Like motherfuckers got real studio time. We bouncing out songs like, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually hearing people on my songs for the first time too. So I was like, damn, I'm gonna actually start making beats. Like, you know what I mean? People need beats. People want to actually hear these beats too, and people actually fuck with the songs too. It just gave me like an indirect drive because honestly, none of us taking it as serious at that time. But just the idea of like putting together a product and like, damn, everybody else taking this as serious. Like, maybe I should be making beats a little bit more for everybody too, you know what I mean? Like, and having it ready. So when I come to a studio like Classics, I'm ready for them to get on one of the beats. You feel me?
Now you're ready all the time, huh?
Hell yeah, bro. You gotta be ready, no cap. Like, especially with this production shit too. Like, I'm working with a lot of Detroit producers, Detroit artists. You talking about being ready? You better have 100 beats ready, no cap, because they rapping on 50 beats a night and they running through probably like 100 beats that you done made for the last 3-4 weeks type shit. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays too, like you gotta be ready. Like you gotta make hella shit. Like even when I'm not sending beats out, I'm making 10 beats a day, 5 beats a day or something. You know what I mean?
That's a hard work ethic though, because not everybody's going to the studio to make 2 beats a day. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody that's around me, know that's not cap, bro. Like I really make like 5 beats a day. No bullshit. Like you go through my last computer, I got thousands of beats that I've never sent to nobody. It's just like damn near putting up shots in the gym, like just practicing, like off the love of the craft type shit. So
You're on the Kanye method.
damn near. What did he say? 5 beats. I think he said 5 beats a day.
5 beats a day for a
like
summer.
that. That's probably why I got that measurement in my head indirectly. It's because that shit's so ingrained in your head when you don't know. But I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty on point, bro. Like a motherfucker make about four beats a session. Like you got a couple hour session or something like that.
So then what caused the disbandment from Supreme Regime?
We were kids, bro. Like I was fresh into high school. A couple of them were seniors in high school, dealing with like that, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it is being a senior for the first time, like about to go to college and you got girlfriends and problems and all that. So they dealing with all that, you know what I mean? Like that's some of the most traumatizing, like real problems that they dealing with. And at the same time, like, you know, my brother Carr, you know what I'm saying? Like his family not understanding that like he an actual prodigy in this shit. Like he's one of the people that's gonna be a route to us being able to grow Lyrical Lemonade, you know, us like the shows that he couldn't go to for Lyrical Lemonade to start, the first shows and stuff like that, you know, like just his parents grounding him and shit like that, that kind of, you know, it just made it a little harder to make music. It's just real life stuff going on, you know what I mean? Like nobody's making money off it. We kids and none of this exists. Chief Keef didn't blow up yet. None of this, nothing is feasible for anybody yet. You know what I'm saying? So like to everybody else, this just looks like the craziest dream. You like you almost tripping even trying to pursue anything like this too. So that's kind of what, you know, caused it. Like everybody had to grow up. Like they had to go get jobs. One of my homies went to the military, loudmouth.
Damn.
Yeah, just, you know, it's real life stuff for real. Like okay, like, and that's the thing about music. Like you watch a lot of that too. Like people not being able to see the fruits of what they were supposed to get from it because music ain't no quick turnaround in it. You know what I mean? It might take years. It might take 10 years or some shit. So,
But you took Kari with you to the next one. Hurt everybody.
shit, he took me. I ain't gonna lie, like no cap. Like I was honestly doing my own shit. Like, you know, at that time, by then I was producing for like Lucky a little bit. And I had a couple things like random people like Saba and stuff like that. But I was kind of in the air floating. Like Supreme Gene, Calm Down. Kari was one of the homies that was like, he's still on it. Like I to this day, like Kari, one of the best rappers in the world to me. So, you know, him and Wassam, one of my homies who was like our manager at the time and was helping on Supreme Regime things. He started going around Music Garage, and that's when they locked in with Supa. And that's kind of how, you know, like I got introduced to Supa, you know what I mean, through them. Like they showed me his music, and I was like, oh, yeah, this shit hard. You know what I'm saying? So we started just making music. Then we did that first South by Southwest, like 2016, I want to say. 2015. Early as hell, one of the first South bys. Like I feel like that was like one of them crucial South bys. And then we just locked in ever since then.
Touch on those relationships with Kari and Supa real quick. How did they help you grow both personally and artistically?
Sonically, we all were aware of what we were doing, you know what I'm saying? Like Supa's a crazy vocalist, Kari's a crazy lyricist, and at the same time too, like I got a lot of weird influences in my beats too. So when we come together, I feel like it was just like a melting pot to do a bunch of different creative things that don't fall into just like rap genre, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of rap shit nowadays. Like people discredit other types of rap because we don't got a subgenre. Like we don't got alternative rock and a soft rock and all that too. But us coming together with our influences, we kind of just, you know, we merge all that. Like I'm big on 3 6 Mafia. I grew up on Twister, you know what I'm saying? A lot of shit like that. But then I also grew up on like Flying Lotus when I got a little older and stuff like that too. So them just understanding like we all got a weird ass palette of shit and we all understand music and sonics a little bit different. You know, that's kind of what just, you know, helped me as an artist to understand like music, they don't got boundaries for it, you know what I'm saying? Like you start working with certain artists, you understand like this is what they on, like this is kind of the boundaries they're on. But them as artists, I'm not gonna lie, like really wasn't a boundary. We kind of making whatever we wanted to make for the day. Like whatever beat or whatever key I'm gonna lean into, they kind of understand it and figure out something with it too. So gave me a definite, like a different appreciation for artists who can bounce around and do different genres, do different, influences and actually like hone into shit that's not just like relatively easy to figure out. And personally too, just like how to balance understanding what it is working with people. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I grew up playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? So like I always understood like the team effort, the understanding of like I'm not the only person. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you got to pass the ball. Sometimes you got to make sure somebody else is straight. And your coach is gonna make sure like if he's not doing well, you're not gonna do well. Y'all all gonna run. You know what I'm saying? Like if he's fucking up, you gonna fuck up too. So just leaning more into that, like of a idea as an adult or like a person that's moving into a workforce and being like, all right, these my counterparts in this, and like if they going through something personally and they can't get through what they going through, we can't put the music out that's about to actually change our lives too. So you know what I mean? Like just understanding like this shit is a little bit beyond music. You know what I mean? Like especially when you're making good music and you making emotional music, you gotta be aware of people's personal problems. You gotta be aware of what they going through and also be courteous of it. You know what I'm saying? Like be reasonable. Like bro, stuff might need to take a halt sometimes. Like life is more important sometimes than music, even if you think that is like what's gonna make the money at the end of the day, because sometimes that might not be somebody else's highest priority, especially when somebody's having a kid or somebody got family problems going on too. So just being understanding of that, you know what I mean? Like I could have what I want to be focused on, but at the end of the day, this is not just me. So
But what pushed you to understand that really? Because right at this age, you're about what, 19, 20?
yeah, about like 19.
So at this point, you're 19 years old. You're chasing your dream. You have this vision of what your life is supposed to look like. And I've been through this with my friends, right? When I was younger, I was probably 19. My homie started dating a girl with a kid. I'm 19 years old.
Right,
I'm like,
it's halted
bro,
something.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They're still together. Great people.
Exactly,
Love them
and
as
in
a
hindsight,
couple,
you look
right?
at some of it like I was too good.
Yeah, I look at it, I'm like, damn, I was an asshole for real. But, at 19, it's like, bro, like, those are the things that you got to learn to understand. So what was it that made you come to that realization?
And I think just the situation I then grew up through, you know what I'm saying? Like I got 3 older brothers, so you know what I mean? Like that's law to me. Like that's what's important. You know what I'm saying? I got a mom, I got brothers, and I got a real tight-knit family. So like when it comes to stuff like that where it's like I know how it is when somebody's dealing with something because they in my household, and this is somebody that I care about more than I care about myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just something I always could carry over in other things. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody else is lacking in something, I'm gonna always make sure I'm that pillar that's holding it down on whatever you need me to hold it down on type shit, because I know how it is. You know what I mean? Like I've had brothers that's going through things. I had a mom that's losing jobs when my dad passed away. A lot of things like that where it's like, yeah, I understand like we can be petty about certain things, but if we locked in, bro, like we got to get to the end goal. And that means sometimes you're going to be going through things and I need to pick up extra slack. And sometimes I'm going to be going through shit and I expect you to pick up extra slack. You know what I'm saying? If we really locked in and you actually care about me. So, just carrying that over, you know what I'm saying? Like if you my brother, you my homie, bro, like I want the best for you always. And I want to make sure that I can do whatever I can to make sure that happens. So, just like seeing some of them going through certain things or me going through certain things and them being able to pick up the slack, like they just, it's been something that stuck with me forever, you know what I mean? For real.
Another thing that you keep mentioning is being this pillar, right? Making sure that everybody's good. What kind of strain has that placed on you mentally?
Having to be a pillar sometimes, bro, like you a broken pillar, like, or you going through something and people don't even realize it. That's the strain it takes on you, you know what I mean? Like being able to still be structurally there while you dealing with a crack, like that people can't see, you know what I'm saying? You got a real fault that this motherfucker might break any day. But I'm not gonna lie, I care about the people so much that I'm keeping this shit together. You know what I'm saying? So that's just really it. Like that's the motivation of being a pillar is like, I know how it feels sometimes when I'm like relying on shit too. So being grateful to be able to rely on other people too. I'm just, it's one of them things that I gotta stay solid for,
Everybody's going through something. And a lot of the times because we have social media, we put something up and again, people see what you want them to see. So things can seem great. Because I got that post up today, you think I'm happy. You think everything's okay in my life. But what if I'm going through some shit that's really detrimental to me? I just got my heart broken. Oh, what then? Because I'm not gonna. I mean, I would come on here and say that shit because that's me, but most people aren't gonna come on here and be like, "Yeah, my girl just broke up with me." You know what I'm saying?
Nah, facts. I feel that, man.
So the fact that you say, right, being a broken pillar and still being there for people every day, I could crash out for real, but I'm trying not to, and I'm trying to be that person that everybody can lean on. So some days you do got to take that break, right? Some days you do got to take that step away and let people know, like, I'm not good right now. I need you. And if you can't do that for me, I don't got anything against you, but just leave me be.
And it feels selfish sometimes, but it's realistic, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, certain things like the word like emotional and selfish, I feel like it's such a strong ass word because it's got so many negative connotations to it. But sometimes you gotta be selfish with that, bro. And sometimes you gotta eliminate some of the emotions in it. You know what I'm saying? Like not be non-emotional and not understanding or caring to certain people's situations or people's needs or anything like that. But the fact that like if you don't got a boundary for what you need sometimes, like you may not be able to offer anything to anybody after a certain extent, you know what I mean? And that's something I mean I commend you on, you know, being able to like come out and publicly talk about things like that, you know what I'm saying? Like things that are bothering you or things that might make you, you know, depressed or sad or anything like that. That's something I'm terrible at. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm bad at like communicating happiness. I'm bad at communicating sadness, all that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when I'm going through something like that, nobody knows and I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, especially when you going through things or like you feel like you live the traumatic life, you don't feel it's kind of hard sometimes to get online and kind of like talk about it or even praise it or praise it to people, not praise, but like discuss it with people that might not understand what you come from also, you know what I'm saying too. So that's something I commend, you know, people that can wear their heart on their sleeve, people that can kind of talk about it a little bit more because just growing up how we grow up, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like you taught to just not pay attention to shit that's actually happening. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to just keep rolling with the punches and not actually sit down and assess what you're feeling with personally. But me as a grown man, like luckily I feel like I've been emotionally intelligent enough to understand like, you know, sometimes bro, I need a break from certain things, like, or I need to be a little selfish because I might not be letting you know what I'm going through, but I know what I'm going through. And personally, I need to step away from shit. You know, I need a second to just be able to do what I need to do without any extra things that are, you know, attached to it because I love you so much or I care about you and you know, I gave you this wall of like understanding that you can talk to me at any point because you can like don't ever, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing too, especially when you're dealing with people that ever like are thinking about suicide or anything like that that you care about. You can't ever detach yourself from that wall of like you got this line of communication. You can always talk to me. But sometimes when it's not that serious or that important, you need to understand that I'm not great at expressing that I'm going through something right now and I might be going through something more extreme than what you're going through, or could even fathom that I'm going through, and I just need a second to gather my shit so I can come back and be a strong pillar again. You know what I'm saying? Like, no cap.
What do you think are some of those things that you've held on to for too long?
Honestly, sometimes like the idea of like dealing with trauma of like somebody people passing away or stuff like that, or like, you know, coming from a place where people have passed away, sometimes I'll break down the barrier of when somebody crosses a border or when I shouldn't fuck with you or when I shouldn't be okay with you again because I'm dealing with that trauma of like, nah, people do, you know, I've dealt with people where it's like, this is my last conversation. Do I think that was as bad as it needed to be where it's like, I didn't get to talk to you again? Nah, I don't think so. So that's one of the things that's kind of, you know, just linger with me just over time, you know, kind of just like the fact that, bro, like some people might not be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I might let things go over my head that were more serious because I know that I'm dealing with this trauma of like, you don't realize like you playing around with this situation or I'm letting you get over on this situation or I'm not letting the situation seem like it's bothering me as much because I don't want my last impression to ever be with you something negative like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the traumas that definitely stood with me. You know what I mean? Like you never know when somebody could go. So it's like I don't think people have that same understanding or cherish, you know, or cherish every day with people like that. So when I be talking to people sometimes or like people are doing certain situations that are selfish and I'm like, I want to be selfish as hell, bro, but like I ain't gonna lie, I would hate if I got selfish and this the last time I ever talk to you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or especially somebody I really love.
Because you really don't know. And you know what? I appreciate you saying that because a lot of the times I don't think I've ever heard that one. You know, being afraid that this will be my last conversation with somebody. And that's because not everybody has gone through that.
Yeah, facts.
It goes back to what my mom had told me growing up, right? If I got mad at her and she's leaving the crib and she say, you know, bye, I love you, and I don't say I love you back, she tells me like, hey, this could be the last time I leave the crib and you're not going to tell me you love me? Like, no. Even if you're mad at me every single day, when you leave this house, make sure you tell me you love me.
No cap.
Because you don't know when somebody's last moment will be, especially when you leave the house. No matter where you are from, right? South side, west side, east side, north side.
No cap.
You could get into a car crash. That's a wrap.
Fall down the stairs, anything. Nothing promised. No cap. So that's why too. It's like you got to really weigh sometimes, like you saying, bro. Like that's a heavy statement because, bro, I ain't gonna lie. Like my mom, you know, like that's something the exact statement my mom always hit me with. My brothers too. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad passed away when we were young, and like my brothers being a little bit older was always something like, bro, you don't never play around with saying something like that to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you ever want that to be your last word to me? And that, you know what I'm saying? That being something that's ingrained in your head growing up, like, you start to learn, like, yeah, nah. Facts. That is real when you start losing people. Like, you don't ever want a situation that could be as petty as something about some fucking dishes or, you know what I'm saying? Somebody doing a chore or somebody arguing because you a little bit tired to be the last conversation you had with somebody, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit sits differently. Look out, for real.
You mentioned your dad passing away while you were younger, right? In what ways did you see the family dynamic change after that happened? And the ways that it impacted you directly?
A lot of ways. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to like dynamic of what your mom is, you know what I'm saying, in the house, like that, you know what I'm saying, in that conversation when we step back into like people giving you that life lesson of somebody telling you like you don't ever want this to be your last conversation you have with somebody, you know, that's one of the conversations that stem from my dad passing away. And, you know, I'm like 9, 10 years old acting out, you know what I'm saying, not even realizing the severity of what adults actually are feeling around me and my mom is feeling around me and people around me that actually are grown and have adult feelings, you know what I'm saying, and past years with him, you know what I'm saying, they're actually mourning and things like that too. So just understanding like, damn, like one day my mom hit me with that too when she was going to work. And it's probably the first time I ever see my mom cry because I feel like she one of the strongest people I've ever met in this world, you know what I'm saying? But that day just put it in perspective like, oh no, wait, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going against the grain of what my dad would want, you know what I'm saying, and what anybody would want in the family, you know what I'm saying, because I'm being not understanding of the fact that, you know, my mom has to take on all of the burden of taking care of all 4 of us boys now in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a real crazy thing to understand as an adult now. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to 4 boys in Chicago, like that's a crazy task, like, you know what I mean? And the older I get, the more I come in it, bro. It's like my mom really stepped up and raised 4 men, you know what I mean? And she was that man, you know what I'm saying? To this day, we get her flowers for Father's Day, because that was our father, you know what I'm saying? Like my OG was my father, no cap, because like she played that part to make sure that we weren't sweet, like none of that, like there was no, you're missing out on certain things of like being rough as a kid, you know what I'm saying? We in the house, tough and all that, so that shit doesn't matter. But the fact that she could also be a nurturer and all that and still be paying the bills and still coming home and cooking dinner, you know what I'm saying? Like making sure we were good, you know what I mean? I feel like that's the thing that, you know, that stuck with me, you know, from my dad's passing away. It's really just like, you know, a lot of the role that he had as a man being around, or is it not even a man, to strip that away, because my mom plays so many parts that strip that idea of what a man's supposed to do. You know, just him being there as a placeholder for certain things, like we got to step up a little earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to break these traditions of bad eating and bad understanding of our health, because, you know what I mean? Like we might not have too much track record to our health history for our family and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We got to pay a little more attention to that. And we are the new generation that's got to step up and really like make sure like, okay, it's 4th of July or something that's going on. Like it's somebody's birthday. We going to be the one to make sure that we do an event. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going to make sure that we barbecue and, you know, just keep that tradition alive. You know what I mean? Like that just, you know, something that sat hard with me, because it's like when he left, it's kind of like, you know, who's going to keep certain traditions alive? And I feel like that's kind of where we missing nowadays. Like that figure and that father figure in certain things where it might sound cliche or like almost like old school thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like there are certain features to what you do need a dad for, especially when you're growing up in the city like how we do in Chicago too. So just keeping that implemented, you know what I mean? Like making sure I'm there as a person that my nephews can talk to, you know what I'm saying? Like just being present in the family, you know what I mean? Like there's things that certain my mom couldn't tell me that I needed to have a male figure around for. So like, you know what I mean? Like if my nephews or somebody don't got a father figure around, I'm gonna make sure I'm there for them, you know what I mean?
What were some of those lessons you needed a male figure for?
That's the problem too. Like it's almost like an unanswered question to this day. Like the more we get into it, like with the way shit's going, like me and all my closest friends, we didn't have pops, so we damn near raised each other too. So that's like a unanswered question to this day. Still, I feel like the respect between other men and understanding that you can be thriving, you can be great at what you're doing, and I could be just as great and I could be thriving too. You know what I'm saying? And we don't need to be in conflict. I feel like that's kind of what's lost with a lot of this nowadays too. It's like the lack of understanding and respect for somebody else that's doing what they're doing to become a man and handle what they got going on. And I feel like nowadays, like just that lack of dads being around kind of loses the value of life almost, or the value of the fact that you don't have to compete with everybody, bro. You don't have to. This is not your enemy. Somebody next to you is not your enemy because they're thriving in the same space as you. Somebody that's good at what they're doing and confident in what they're doing, but they can be confident and get what they're doing. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's something that the generations a little bit above us had. You know what I'm saying? Like they understood, like he's good at what he do. He's strong. He a man. We're not gonna take that away from him. You know what I'm saying? Now that it's that lack of that infrastructure, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that dynamic anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you can thrive while other men are thriving too. You don't gotta compete. You don't gotta hurt another man. You know what I'm saying? You can actually coexist and learn shit from other men. You can be emotional with men. All that.
I'm always the opposite in the sense
feel you.
in the sense of the competition aspect.
I feel that.
Because I'm always the person that's like, no, I got to be the best at what I do. There's a lot of people that do exactly what we do, right? There's a lot of producers, there's a lot of people who host the podcast, but at the end of the day, like you want to be the best.
I think that's good though, still though. I don't think you shouldn't be the best, try to be the best. Like
What I'm getting at though is, that understanding of like two people can coexist in the same space and be successful at the same time. It's it's kind of like what I was talking to him the other day about. When you think about a relationship, right? I'm gonna take it to the relationship aspect. When you think about a relationship, when you break up with somebody, sometimes that fear is that they're gonna find somebody new and they completely forget about every single thing about you.
facts.
But that's not how it works. They find somebody new and they build new memories, they build new relationships, and they build new things that happen to them. Just because they have new experiences doesn't mean those old experiences are gone and wiped away. That doesn't mean that what we had didn't matter. It just means that it's not a thing no more. And it's going to continue to impact you, right? So when it comes to being the best at what you do, the people in the same space as you, they're going to continue to impact you, but you guys can coexist in the same space.
Facts.
Just one of them is going to end up being better than the other. And hopefully this, me.
Bro, I always thrive to be the best. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't never taking that away from my chip. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always gonna want to be anything I'm doing, bro. I want to be the best at it. But when somebody is undoubtedly just great at what they doing, I'm not gonna like cower or like not think I'm supposed to get better or try to ever aspire to be at that level. But I don't gotta also look at it as something that can't coexist. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you gotta respect what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a thing that I've been good with for years, you know what I'm saying? Like even people like somebody like a Pluto Nash, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my homie, that's my brother, bro. Like he'll tell you straight up, like he got what he got going on. He been winning. I've been winning, doing what I'm doing. But at any point when we were like chopping it up about shit, did I ever feel sour or like feel some type of way that he was winning? Nah, bro, because I just understand, like, bro, he one of the GOATs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I worked hard to get into this shit and he worked hard to get into this shit too. So, obviously when conflict of interest and conflict of like mindset is in the frame, that's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Then it's on some like, I gotta beat this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But like, and keep that, bro. Keep that. But just like if you do lose in the scenario, bro, like you gotta be able to bounce back and understand like somebody got that round or they good at what they do and respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like warriors respect warriors and talent respect talent. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people got that day.
So then taking it back a little bit, right? We talked about Supreme Regime and hurt everybody. again, two things can coexist, two things can happen in your life and shape one person. But when you leave something behind, there's a reason, and then you start something new. Why start something new like another group?
One of the mantras and like sayings that I'm heavy on is like, if something's not working, you can't keep doing the same process to change that process. You know what I mean? Like if something's not working out, you can't keep doing the same exact steps and expecting different results. So, a lot of what it comes to stuff like that, I'm thankful to have learned that lesson early. It's like I can remove emotion from things, and sometimes it's not about us being locked in as homies. If you're not making music or this isn't the scenario that we need to be in, I got to make sure I'm doing what I'm doing because I love music and it's the craft I'm in too. So like, and at the same time, everybody understood that though. We've always been straight through situations like that. Like it's been bad blood in certain eras of certain things, but never anything serious. So it's like at the end of the day, like anybody that I've ever worked with, I want you to win, bro, and I hope you wish the same for me because I know I'm gonna be on the path to doing that.
So why walk away from Hurt Everybody? You guys were super hot on the underground scene. I don't even know if underground scene is the proper word, but you guys were hot in the Chicago hip hop scene.
Facts.
You guys created this cult following. So why walk away from that?
I'm one of the people that's gonna make sure that anything that needs to happen for the team happens. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the same case with everybody. And also when personal things going on in people's life, sometimes that overrides what music is. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of fans of music don't understand that people are humans first too. Even like when it comes to like the greatest beefs in music, you know what I'm saying? Or like the greatest breakups in music. And it's like, that's cool, bro. Y'all appreciate the music, and we do too. We appreciate all the moments and everything made like that. But if something don't make sense personally, it don't make sense personally. You know what I mean? And like realistically, if just going about your business and doing what you're doing personally is gonna make that situation, a little bit better than trying to sit here and throwing on like, all right, we kind of clashing a little bit. This is not what we all want to do. And just the likeness of minds, like, bro, we not on the same page right now. Like, you got to you got to understand that sometimes you got to go be selfish and go do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things. Like, we winning and stuff like that, but there's conflict and interest, just things that some people might not agree on, or other passions that people want to pursue and things they want to do. You got to respect that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of the things that happened. You know what I mean? Like, we all were going through life things at the same time. It was like we all got different understandings of music, different goals in music too. So if that's not on the same page, bro, we don't have to do this together. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I wish the best for all of you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it was. Like just didn't make sense for us. You know what I'm saying? Like disagreements in certain areas of where people want to do certain things like that. But in the end, everybody doing well, everybody healthy and shit. So like everybody gotta be grateful for it, everybody gotta be thankful for it. You know what I mean? I think it in the end elevated all of us.
What you said just takes me back to something that Fem had said, is that sometimes things are just not supposed to work.
Yeah.
That thing that you want to work so bad, it's just not meant to happen. And even though you guys put in that work together and made something great, it's okay to walk away from that and take those experiences and lessons and push it towards something new, right?
And appreciate it too. Like we were saying, like even that, like having that grudge or that ill will against the thought process of how something's supposed to be in the future because that's what you thought was forever, that may not be the case. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that is something where I could look back at and be like, this is legendary, bro. Do I think I would have had the level to do what I'm doing at this point if that never happened? No, I don't. So I'm very appreciative for it. I'm very grateful for it. I'm thankful for it. And, sometimes it just don't go that way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people don't pan out and have to work together or can work out together. So, you know what I mean? Like, just being understanding of that, like, it was what it was. It was a historic, legendary time. And I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? And I use that for growth. And to this day, I use that for my influences on life, influences on music and all that, et cetera. So, just looking beyond it and understanding, like, man, it's time for growth.
Which then leads you to your project, 22 Summers.
Facts.
You just celebrated 7 years of the project.
Put the timeline together like that.
Hey, bro, I told you, do your history on Lotto.
No cap, that's fire, bro. I appreciate it.
This leads you to your project, 22 Summers. Talk about the significance behind this title, because reading it and hearing it, it makes sense. But for those who don't know,
from the city, you understand how it is too. Like summer's some of the craziest times growing up in the city, you know what I mean? Like it's summer right now and shit hectic. We done lost two of the biggest rappers that we had coming up from this next wave of the city. So a lot of that project is just, me being conscious like of what's going on around me type shit, you know what I mean? Sonically and physically, like, like making this project. Like, I had King Louis on it too, you know what I'm saying? Like the day we recorded that project was on the day a year after he got shot in his head too. So, you know what I'm saying? Like putting it in perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like that's one of our goats, like one of the people that created drill too. So just, the idea of like, bro, I was dealing with a lot at that time too. And like, I felt like the atmosphere and the feel of what was going on in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Like it just needed to be understood a little bit or like at least broadcasted in the music a little bit. Like, so that's kind of what I was just, that was the main goal. Was like creating an understanding of what it is in Chicago. Like this is what we got. These are the artists. This is the array of artists we got going on. This is why our music is inspired the way it is. This is why it's a little deeper. This is why it also got bass in it, you know what I'm saying? And like heavy drums and stuff. But at the same time, this is why it's a little jazz inspired, blues inspired too. So, just really all the influences around the time, like the crazy shit that was happening, like the understanding of like what Chicago summer was at the time, and then the impact of putting out a project that embodies so many different walks of life that we got in Chicago on that project.
Just that idea of 22 summers. That's how many you had lived up to up
Yeah.
until that point. So a quote that you had was that 22 years, every year something critical happens. What was that for you? What was some of those things that you wanted to reflect in this piece of art?
Man, at that time, bro, I was just, I was damn near like freshly 22. Some of the actual sound effects on the call are like Cook County like phone call. That's like my brother. You know what I mean? I've been dealing with my brother being incarcerated my whole life. Luckily for the last years, he's been on the straight path too. So, like that's been something I've always been aware of, and just like, just hashing out the feelings of like what I also go through in the city, you know what I'm saying? What I also am dealing with type shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the influences of kind of what that leaves on me, you know what I'm saying? And like, even when it comes to like sound bites, I think about music like almost like a movie, you know what I'm saying? So it was almost like writing my story for the summer, you know what I'm saying? I was dealing with like heard everybody breaking up. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm actually not happy right now, you know what I'm saying? But I love music, so I'm still trying to put out a project. And in retrospect, you look at music, and a lot of it is to a degree of like science and almost math and like keys and the way certain things break down to make you feel personally too. And like a lot of that shit was like sad music sonically. You know
That
what I
shit
mean?
was
Like,
sad. Sad
yeah,
boys
sad,
for
bro.
real.
You feel me? So like it just, bro, I ain't gonna lie, it just was reflecting a lot of what was going on. Like me growing as an artist, like trying to do something new, but at the same time, like, bro, this how I'm feeling right now. You know what I mean? Like this is some of the sound bites that's going on. These are the artists that's around me dealing with some of the shit I'm dealing with. And yeah, it just actually turned into a product that actually had like more of a feeling to it too. So I'm grateful for it for sure.
And literally, like, the first bar, the first lyrics that fucking Lucky says off the album is in Self Destruct, I hope I die so you can see just how much you need me.
That's something too I listen to around people, and they're like, damn, like, and I look back at it too, but bro, like Lucky a poet, you know what I'm saying? And it's not it's not like physically, I think some people, I'm big on putting things in the air and it being like, I don't want to put that in the air, bro, because things do come to life. I'm big on that too. But when it comes to art and like the fact that he could say that as an opening bar, that's almost like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta look into the how profound it is almost, you know what I'm saying? He comes from a poetry background. He comes from like an understanding of like what that is to be a little bit more hard edge leaning with it, you know what I'm saying? How it might sound a little bit crazy, but it's to get off the thought provoking idea of like, damn, like what if I was gone? You know what I'm saying? Like you would understand how much you do need me. And that is facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just heavy. Like a lot of people don't realize how much they need somebody or care about somebody until they're gone. But for him to be able to put that shit on the song, like opening line, it's deep, bro. That shit heavy.
Do you feel like that's something that you were feeling at that time?
Back then I was more loose on like what I would say, like tongue, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't more conscious of what I'll put into the air because I was so young also. But at the same time though, like it's the first years of like, yeah, we 22 to 19 years old, a lot of the artists on it too. It's like the first time you actually thinking about life and like, damn, like if there is a God, why am I dealing with some of the things I'm dealing with? You know what I'm saying? So that the idea of what he's saying in it is something I feel like a lot of people at our age was thinking at that time too. So for sure, for me, I couldn't even fathom why I was dealing with some of the things I was dealing with. But at the same time, like I could look at somebody else's life and be like, bro, they dealing with things 100 times deeper. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just a real bar for everybody. You know, everybody was going through stuff where it's like you can't even understand how if there is a God, he could put you through it. But you get older and you look back and it's like, you know, things happen for certain reasons. Would I be as strong as I am today if I didn't go through those things? I don't know. So would somebody understand that they need somebody or need to cherish time with somebody as much as they do if they didn't lose them? I don't know. So, you know what I mean?
What do you feel like was the most critical thing that was happening at that time?
Probably just the idea of like what change is, you know what I'm saying? Like and those are some of the most pivotal years of your life. You learning your first lessons, you know what I mean? You taking your first losses when it comes to relationships, family, understanding of what you're doing, friendships, all that. So I feel like at that time I was dealing with like a big loss of like, okay, damn, like this was something that, you know, hurt everybody and my family, and what I was doing was something that looked like it was about to track out completely the way I thought it was supposed to. Like almost a fairy tale tip. But the fact that it didn't, you know, it just put it in perspective like, hey, shit can't hit the fan sometimes. You got to be ready to roll with the punches.
Anything can happen at any moment, right? Everything can be going well. Everything can look like it's going to pan out the way that you had dreamed and then fall apart at the last second. How has this thinking continuously plagued you as you move forward with your career?
Honestly, it's a consistent thing, you know what I mean? Like too, especially being a producer, like that's like one of the feelings that you got to get used to, you know, and just a human, you know what I mean? Like, bro, people do not care about some of the things you care about too. So just the understanding of like, you might have your own goals or you might have your own drive or idea of what you want to do, but some of the things might not be what's the first thing on somebody else's plate too. So, you know, obviously, you know, it's always like dawned on me too, kind of on just like the tip of like, you know, it's a little bit more stressful with that situation, but I also had to grow like kind of like a tougher skin to it too. And it also helped me with music. You know what I mean? Like people go through personal things, people deal with real life shit, but at the same time too, they got a job or they got an artist career too. So, but never at that any point does being an artist become before being a person. So
Let me ask you, right? What was it about Good to Lose that resonated with you so much that made it your favorite?
and I think that one honestly is like probably the most heartfelt on the tape. You know what I mean? Like something that's actually directly going on with what I got going on. And Corey, you know, somebody that's like directly hand in hand of what I'm doing on a day to day growing up at that time too. So he knows and he's feeling the same shit I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that one kind of just like was the most song that was like closest to what we were actually going through and feeling at the time.
What made this project feel like New York, right? You moved over there and half this project was created over there.
The beats were. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the mindset of like going to another place where I didn't know nobody and shit wasn't like it wasn't like home at that point too. You know, it kind of made me push to lock in more and kind of finish what I was doing too. So majority of the time I was in New York, I was sitting in a room making beats, you know. So just like the idea of like moving to somewhere else and like trying that hand at like, all right, like I gotta try something different. I gotta get a new some new scenery or some shit, you know what I'm saying? And give me some inspiration too. Like that kind of helped me kind of like almost become a little bit more like introspective of what the fuck was going on back at the crib, you know what I mean? Like just the idea of like I'm in another mecca, another main city, but I don't have much going on here too. So I'm kind of removed from a lot of the emotional and the physical aspects that a lot of people grow up with. But at the same time, it takes a lot. I mean, it gives you a lot of time to sit and think and view the people back at the crib dealing with what you're dealing with or whatever's going on type shit too. So, you know, and in the long run, I wanted to go out there and pursue music, but I had personal things going on back here. So I had to come back home too. So, you know, it's just like a window of kind of like, you know, reflection and kind of almost like seeing what you come from, how it's different from some another place that's damn near kind of similar, but not at all, you know. But and then you know, just what you value about it type shit.
Do you feel like going out there you were sort of running away from something over here?
The bleakness, you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that I already had something so set in stone here that I wasn't happy with, you know what I'm saying? And the idea of going to somewhere else and having that fresh start. But, you know, at the same time, it's like it's hip hop, bro. You know what I mean? Like New York, the Mecca. So being able to go out there with a fresh, clean slate, but still with some of the legendariness I have, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the, you know, the flowers of what I did before too, and the crossover of like the New York scene too. It felt better, you know what I mean? Like I almost wanted to get away from this shit that was going on here for a little bit to kind of switch it up and try something new.
What do you feel like it was that you weren't happy with about here?
Just dealing with the same cycle, like being here even though it is a lot of opportunity, I made a lot of growth and stuff like that, it's still the fact that I'm not where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And just that, that's that mirror blanketed like mindset of like you go to New York or you go to LA or something like that, you might find what you need to in certain industries or whatever. That adds to it as well too. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I had reached a point where it's like this is the goddamn ceiling here. Like I done did everything I need to do here. And at the same time, too, I'm almost putting all my energy into these resources that aren't panning out. So, it just almost felt like I don't want to leave the city for a second, but I got to go try something new if I want to do anything to even come back and help the city. No cap.
So then, like I said multiple times since I've seen you today, multiple times throughout this interview, you get 2012 to 2017, you can find mulatto beats everywhere.
That's crazy.
After that, it's hard to find something. You pop up with Lyrical Lemonade. How does this all come together?
I was in the forefront of certain things where it's like, I tried the hand of being the main musician of a group. I tried the hand of being the main DJ of certain groups. I tried the hand of doing certain things. And I was like, at the end of the day, like, none of this shit is exactly what I want to do for myself. You know what I'm saying? So just the understanding of like, I can do all this. I can do all my passions. But during that time, I took a lot of time to myself to figure out like, what am I really about to do in this? You know what I'm saying? Like, even with millions of plays on certain songs, I was still interning at like CRC to figure out like, damn, do I want to be a engineer? Do I want to do this or whatever? And during that time, you know what I'm saying, I was taking time to figure out what I wanted to do in the long run, how I could make something out of this that like, it's actually some shit that can stand for me. You know what I'm saying? Something that represented me. And I fell in love with like post production and like, films and stuff like that too more. And working on that, the back end of like doing voiceovers, doing audio recordings for people that are doing like games and stuff like that too. Because I got a big background in games and movies and stuff like that. I've been a big movie buff and shit like that. So that was kind of just like my transition and learning. Like this couple years in before COVID, and then those years I was taking a lot of time to like learn. And then during COVID, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm coming out of this with a new trait for sure, or a new skill or something for sure. So just like studying up on like what post production is, how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like sound design and a lot of stuff like that too. Like trying my hands at like my first stuff on like Chili's commercials and random shit. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that might not be my passion, but it's still in the same angle of what I wanted to do. And in the long run, I understood like, oh, okay, all of this is still in the same market of what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And in the long run, that that directly leads to something like a Minions and me understanding like, if somebody would put that in my face years ago before when I was just here like, I want to make beats or this is the rap career or something, I wouldn't even understood that. But it's like, nah, there's different ways to enter and still get off the passions that you want, you know what I'm saying, and actually be successful off it too. So, I was just taking a lot of time to like learn myself and what I want to do with the shit for sure.
How did the Minions thing all come together?
Man, shout out Cole too, but a lot of it is like him doing what he's doing on the director tip, you know what I'm saying? Like, and visually putting together what a lot of people can't do, you know what I mean? And also too at the same time, like building a fan base and an understanding and an ecosystem that people are like, oh no, okay, this is something that people can't rub out of history. This is something that people really care about and love. And if another brand like a Minions that has such a prestigious name already too, if they collaborate with something that's fresh and upcoming like this, but that's so stamped, that it's a good collaboration of fan base. It's a good understanding of like, all right, they're in the culture, they got what's going on over a little more what's hip. But at the same time, this is universal. This is what's stamped too, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to them, you know what I'm saying? Everybody over there that understood like Lyrical has something going on and reaching out to Cole too. And just during that process too, like being visible and being in places too. Like I love Chicago, but if I wasn't in LA at that time, I probably wouldn't have been around to hear the first steps of what was happening when Cole got the call from Illumination and Universal, and him straight up telling me like, yo, I got this Minions joint coming. I really would love you to work on it, you know what I'm saying? And, be understanding like, okay, I get what we tried to do. Yeet's the artist for it. So, I really just went back to the Airbnb and locked in, like made hella beats, like immediately, like type shit. Like I didn't take a second to go wait and make any beats. Like I went back that night and started locking in and just, just making sure I was standing on the opportunity and just being present and like, okay, word, this is what you need to do for it. Like this is my first time doing anything with like a film process. This is first time doing anything with like a music process, but also almost like music supervision, him choosing something that he likes to be placed for a film or a video. And it just made sense, man. It was, just a good situation where it was like, I think I've sent enough beats where it was like, oh, I'm comfortable with sending this beat to Yeet. Ye got on this beat. He felt comfortable sending that back to the team, and then the team felt comfortable with everything too. So, just just one of them situations where it's like it kind of just fell into what it fell into. But I'm grateful for it, and I know they grateful for it too. Like I know Cole's grateful for it too. So just moving forward, I'm looking forward to way more things like that too. Because like we were saying, we've been doing this for years, and we both love film. So like really, that's like our first step into this shit. So
So we talked about the relationships that you had with Kari, with Supa. Cole, we haven't touched on. How did that relationship begin?
before music too much, honestly, too, because we had a similar friend, like, or just like a friend that was between both friend groups. One of my friends transferred to his school too. So even before like the music shit, like I feel like we were seeing each other on like social media and shit like that, or like Facebook or whatever it was at the time. And just him coming to Chicago and being around the mix, trying to like get in the scene and help the scene and help everybody do what they doing. It's the same thing I was doing, the same thing Kari was doing, the same thing like a lot of the musicians at the time. Like we weren't getting any money from anything. It was off the strength of like, damn, I think it's some talented artists out here. I think I could bring something to the table. He ended up shooting a lot of the best videos for a lot of the earliest Chicago artists too, or not even the best, but like some of the first videos where it's like, okay, this is something that stamps us. You know what I'm saying? And same with me. I was one of the people that's like, I got beats. You know what I'm saying? So we just took a knack for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we always respected the fact that we are like damn near like workaholics, no cap. Like I don't know anybody else besides him that works as hard as I do too, and I respect that so much by him, and I think he respects that by me too. You know what I'm saying? Like we progressive, we think forward at the same time we embrace new things. We got to understand like older things, and we work hard as hell, bro. So like it just when it came to us working in a thing like a means or something too, I think he appreciated that I was like ready for the opportunity, ready to send beats, ready to be like, oh, you don't like this beat? All right, cool. I'll make some shit that I think motherfuckers will fuck with because I appreciate your opinion and I respect my opinion too. So let's come together and make this shit something that's actually crazy.
So then how do you feel like he's helped push you?
This shit, like, it take a village, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, we tried to, that's why my weed brand is Stoner Village, it takes a village. It's not even on no cliche funny or anything like that. It's like, bro, it took a village to really build a lot of the things that I rely on a day to day. So I think, even the things like him throwing the first shows and being like, yo, you want to DJ this? Y'all want to play this? And us being like, yo, yeah, we gonna go turn this show up. It's gonna be crazy for the night type shit. And then us coming collaborating when it's like, we could have held some type of high regard or some pride that didn't make sense, some false pride, and never worked with each other, but we would have never elevated each other too. So, a lot of what he does too is just amplifying that platform what we got out here too. Same with me. And I think I feel like we share that same mindset of like if I think somebody's talented at something, I'm gonna give them the opportunity to, even if that's not what's necessarily like the norm on something. But I fuck with it, and it's a good person. You know what I mean? And I think over the years, like he's recognized that like I'm loyal, bro. You know what I mean? I'm a diehard musician. I'm a good person, bro, and I'm never trying to like step on somebody else to do what I'm doing. I'm just ready for my opportunity when I am. So, he's always helped me with any situation, like something that's like something that comes to producing or DJing or a show or something like that. If he could throw something my way because he knows that I'm ready to go, like he has. So I'm grateful for it for sure. It's almost hard to like pinpoint what it is, but just the opportunity to like even being around here, like trusting me to be in the HQ to do what I want to do, like build a studio and do my studio thing in here and record artists and make beats when I want to. Like that's how he's amplified it. Chicago's crazy as hell. It's like I got a place to be safely in a nice place where it's like we actually got some of the network when people do come into the market that might just walk right into my door, my studio, because I'm just in here. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, you know what I mean. So he's done a lot, bro. A lot for the city too. So
Hey, not luckily, bro. You earned it.
yeah, exactly.
You earned the spot here.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. People always tell me that too. Stop saying luckily, hopefully, thankfully, and all that shit. But I'm just blessed to do what I do. So
The sleepiness is getting to you, right?
a little bit, yeah,
It's getting to be too low key.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to go to Stoner Village next. That's your next big. I don't even know what to call it. Your business, right? That's your next big business.
Yeah, facts. Like
But-
actually something that's like a business.
But before we get there, I'm still confused, bro. How did you come to be here? How did you end up at Lyrical?
I've been knowing all the guys, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been knowing Elliot, I've been knowing Cole, I've been knowing all of them, Jake, all of them since we first started doing it. But I was producing, you know what I'm saying? I was doing more music, stuff like that. This at the end of the day, Cole started doing music videos, you know what I mean? Like he was shooting music videos, he was doing shows, and then also there was the blog aspect. There wasn't too much for like a audio overlap or anything like that. Down the line, we ended up shooting the first podcast, doing some of the first merch stuff, and it became a point where it's like, oh, okay, he's growing this company into something that's beyond just what a couple of the homies were doing over there already too. So when he started looking around for other things that's going on, I was coming in here working with CP, working with Duffel Bag Brew, and just one of the homies, and we chopped it up one day, and he's like, I would love if you would come in and help on some of the stuff that was like going on. We need a couple more hands. And it was like even stuff like as simple as like packaging merch, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that like they needed help and I was down to go package merch, go record a podcast, do whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like he was like, oh yeah, bro, I fuck like, he told me we had a conversation about it, like how he respects that I'm willing to do whatever to make sure the team thrives. And that's something I'm big on too. So just the first opportunities are like, all right, I'm growing, he's growing this brand, bro, and I'm around and I'm somebody that was there from the root. I understand it. I got a lot of respect for it. And at the same time, too, like I'm not ever too good to get my hands dirty. You need something done, bro. Like it don't matter. If we on the same team, bro, like I'm never too good to get some shit done. Like whether that be packing boxes, literal lemonades. Some of them lemonades people was drinking, bro. The first lemonades, I swear to God, I packed the boxes, gang, because I'm down to make sure we got to get what we got to do done. So, that was like kind of the first transition. Like podcast, the first early podcast, packaging, merchandise, DJing shows, some of the first like lyrical shows before it was a festival and stuff like that. And then yeah, just kind of gradual, bro. Like we almost became friends with everybody, became brothers with everybody. So then it was like he just in here every day, you know what I'm saying? Now it's on some more. So we got a 7-Eleven commercial. You got a beat for this, or can you help do some sound design? And it's like, yeah, for sure, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, ready to go. So and then now it's just, it's a working thing, like audio partnerships and all that. I think I didn't show and improving myself when it comes to like I'm professional, but at the same time, I get it, bro. I care about culture and all that too. So, it just didn't transition to like people trust me in more aspects and just like just a music role, just a pack in the box role. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's the most important part about building the team, right? You find people that are just gonna show up every single day, show up when you need them, and do the little things that just help you out. Like Darian, shout out Darian, because there's not a lot of people that would have gone to LA with me. There's not a lot of people that will go downtown to interview. And I mean, there's a lot of people that might go interview an NBA player, but
nah, but facts though. Somebody that don't understand or don't trust the vision, I feel it, bro.
to come out from Aurora every single week to get a video done with me, that's a real one.
It's a track for real.
That's how you build the team, slowly but surely.
And that's what it take, bro. Because also too, when you're on a mission, sometimes like, and you coming for limited resources, you don't have time to explain or feel bad for the fact that you do have limited resources, bro. We all trying to make something happen. And if somebody else wants to help make something happen, bro, and they coming from limited resources, like me, you know what I'm saying? It don't even got to be explained. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're going to have to do something that might be below you, might be for free. Obviously, you want to get paid for your work always, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you got to make sacrifices if you believe in something. So that's really always been something I'm big on, bro. Like, I don't come from shit. Me and my brothers don't come from much. So it's like, what we did have, we grateful for it, and we gonna make sure like whatever we building or somebody else I'm on a team on, bro, we gonna get it done. Like, or else I'm not on that team, and I'm not gonna send you off and even tell you I want to be on that team or anything. I'm gonna give you my straight advice, and if I think that team is worth getting on and helping, that's for a reason. And why not? Why shouldn't we take it to the highest degree? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it takes sacrifice to be able to get to that end point. Like,
So they're not coming from anything and now having your own business, Stoner Village. What does that mean to you?
for a situation like me, it's like I know I didn't stay down, I didn't stay locked in and a real student of my craft of everything I'm doing too. So, I'm grateful for it. Nowadays, like being able to run a business off of a shit that's like, this is literally what I embody, like music, cannabis, stuff like that. This is stuff that I literally grew up on. I've had to take risk over and stuff like that. I'm just grateful for it at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And it just shows that if you are working hard and actually taking a different angle at the shit, even if it is something that everybody else is figuring out how they gonna do it, you might still succeed at it, bro. You might still relish in it better than the other people too.
So why a cannabis brand?
Same thing as music, bro. It's like two of my passions, but at the end of the day, it's it's feasible, you know what I'm saying? It's something that I know, you know what I mean? It's two things that are true to what I know. I know music, I know cannabis. Not that I don't know other things, but at the same time, like music and cannabis taught me business. You know what I'm saying? Those are two of the things that it's like anybody that grew up selling weed or grew up trying to put a song out, you understand a product and you understand profit. You understand taking something, giving it value and being able to sell it for something that's more valuable than what you got it for. And, you know, that's just something with cannabis is like, I understand good product. You know what I mean? I understand good quality. I have good QC. I got good quality control. I understand what's necessary for markets. And I got the background of it. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing it for years. I didn't risk things for it. I know about it. I'm knowledgeable of it too. So now that I can be in position to actually talk about it, I got to be confident about it because I do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of the people that can actually help bring some of the things that are necessary or missing maybe in our state. Same with music. You know what I mean? Like you got to stand on what you stand on. Like if you are good at what you do, you know, you got to stand on it, man. So like cannabis and music, I'm good at those, bro. Like I've been doing those for years. I got a great understanding of what we need out here. And on a business tip, those things actually do translate when you don't want to just be the rapper or sell weed in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You can turn this into a business. I'm doing film shit with production now. I'm legally selling cannabis in dispensaries the right way, but at the same time, hosting parties and doing other things that relate to the lifestyle of what I'm doing so I don't box myself into as just a cannabis brand in case that is ever something that's not possible for somebody like me to get into. You know what I mean?
You have this amazing music history, this rich music history in Chicago. You work for one of the biggest music brands, bigger than music, right? Videos, drinks now. You own your own company, yet you fail to celebrate your wins.
Yeah, facts.
Why?
The same reason of what we've been talking about. Like, I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in. Like, and it's almost like a humbling thing too. And a lot of people always tell me that too. Like, stop being so humble about certain situations. But it's hard not to be humble when you know how many talented people don't be able to get into the position that you made it to too. So, you know, just kind of the idea of like, man, I am doing things that are at a high level. I'm doing things that are hard to make it into. The percentage of the people that do make it in cannabis, making it in music are low as hell. So when I see other people that I actually care about actually not reaping the same benefits as I do or being in the same place or me not being in a position where I can actually help implement you into something like that, it almost starts to affect you, bro. You know what I mean? Like you want to do more for the people that you think are worthy of getting the things that they're supposed to get. But sometimes it just doesn't pan out like that. And so when it does pan out for you, it almost feels like you supposed to be, I, I don't know, have some type of survivor's remorse or something like, or be sad or like not celebrated online because you didn't tell everybody like, oh, I was depressed though. And I was homeless before though. And I lived in homeless shelters and I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, just that idea of that is just, you know, something that dawns on you, you know what I mean? Even during the successes, you know, you want to celebrate it, but it's like, the fuck who hating on me, but at the same time, I don't want to make anybody feel bad about themselves that I care about because I'm winning and they can't right now. You know what I'm saying? And that matters more to me than me winning because I know what I got going on. You know what I'm saying?
Who is it you are looking to save? Because there's almost this idea that you have to save everybody.
Maybe you didn't necessarily lose somebody, like as in the sense of somebody passing away, but maybe you lost somebody on the journey of you getting to where you needed to. You know what I'm saying? And the idea of that not panning out or somebody being able to see the success of that you've worked so hard for that they might have even been a part of, sometimes that just harps on you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea that you didn't fulfill certain journeys or fulfill certain things in your life to be able to show people all the things that they helped you get, you know what I'm saying? Like whether that be a family member that passed away before you could actually take them on vacation the first time, you know what I'm saying? Especially when, you know, a lot of my homies are the first in America, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of the first people to ever see a lot of the great things I did, be able to travel with my family too. So when somebody passes away or a homie passes away, that's something that harps on you, bro. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's something big for me too. Like my dad was one big that was early on. It's like the fact that I didn't get to show him what kind of man I grew into after all the years of being who I was, but then also a little bit later on too, like people like my grandma, like, you know, people that are right there before that and lived a hectic life, then escaped war and stuff like that and came here. And what you work for on a day to day is being able to like take them on a vacation, being able to get them a massage and like let them see a beach somewhere, you know what I'm saying, that they've never got to see. And sometimes that shit just doesn't work out in the time frame that you want to. And it just harps on you, bro. You know what I mean? Like you want to, I don't know, you want to celebrate those things, but you realize like, damn, somebody's not celebrating that I care about, but you know, just the fucked up feeling sometimes.
What do you feel like you'll finally need to do to be able to celebrate yourself?
That is something I've been like trying to figure out a lot recently, but the idea of understanding that like things can always be worse and you really can't do much to do something about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like just the understanding of like, I have to find a certain point where it's like, I have put in effort, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to honor them things and the steps you took to try to help people, or the steps and the effort that you take on a day to day to try to make a platform for yourself to be able to help people. That's just kind of something, you know, that's the thing that I've been having to drill into my own head. It's like at some point, bro, what do you need to make yourself happy? It's not money, you know what I'm saying, necessarily. It's just at least being able to keep everybody afloat that I love and care about and make sure that they financially, physically don't got to stress about anything and they kind of can just handle what they need to. And as long as health and personal things aren't in the way, at least they can thrive and, you know, do what they can do on a day to day, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that might not be feasible for 100 people. But the fact that I could have done it for a couple people is going to be something in the long run I need to look back at and be like, that's something to be happy with type shit. So,
Man. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us, bro. I appreciate you hosting us too. You got anything you want to plug?
Shit, man. I got some music coming. I got a project coming with a few features. First project I dropped, we talked about 22 Summers. That's 7 years ago now, type shit. So now I'm coming up on my like few projects in. I'm about to drop, you know, like another produced straight project by me, a couple like saxophonists and stuff like that. But it's gonna be fire this year for sure. And I got some shit coming with Tron. I got some shit coming with Kari. A lot of shit.
You just dropped a project with Kari too, right?
Yeah. We just dropped the song, and then we've been doing some visuals and stuff like that too, and a couple other little things. We just did a set at Summer Smash, and this summer we dropping our actual full tape. So
make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.